hottest topic coming out of that game is Smith Snowden, Lander Barton, and their two-way usage last night. Smith ended up with nine touches for 66 yards and a touchdown. Lander finished with a reception for 14 yards and a touchdown as well. Josh, you and I had a over-under on 1.5 touchdowns for those two all season, and it cashed in the first half of the very first game of the season.
Oh, that was the season. I was just going to be like, what a great line. Like, wow.
No, that was for the year.
Year.
Yeah. We definitely missed the mark on that one. But, so with that, I think Tyson, Cam, one of you mentioned it. He only played a handful of snaps defensively, 20-something snaps, 22 snaps, played a good chunk of those on offense. And I think that caught all of us by surprise. We knew that he had some packages, but to see him used as much as he was, especially to start the game, right? He was the guy that caught the first play from scrimmage. To see that and to see him on the offense marching its way down the field, to see Lander later on throughout the game, and he played a role at tight end, not just as a pass catcher, but he was a presence blocking as well. So I think there's this wonder about what it means and what to take away from their usage last night. So I'll just throw this out to you guys. Josh, I'll start with you. What did you make of Utah's utilization of their star defensive players on the offensive side of the ball last night?
Honestly, I loved it. We know Kyle at this point. He's not going to try to just force something just for the sake of being gimmicky, whatnot. That's not really his thing. We obviously saw stuff that we really liked in Snowden, and you look at those first drives and you look at, we were talking about that 3rd and 9 before on that drive where he found that first down. I don't know if we go down and score 2 touchdowns in our first 2 drives if we don't have Snowden in there with his playmaking ability. Like he has vision. When he has the ball, he knows where to go with it. He can anticipate what the guy in front of him is going to do, and it really showed. So I love seeing that. Lander Barton, for him to peel off and kind of just have that open look in the end zone and get that touchdown right out of the way. I thought that was cool too. Like Jackson Benny even, right? He had a deep shot where no call on it, but you see the replay. It wasn't like a little bit of a jersey hold. He had the arm hooked around Jackson Benny. Jackson Benny was on a deep shot. He could have been our third defensive player to get a touchdown. So I think it's fun, and I think that we're moving in this direction with college football a little bit. And I think that's something that's good for Utah to get out in front of, because we talked about this in the space a little bit last night, but Texas Tech, right? They've got all this money in the world. Utah, we don't have that same oil money. So if we can get a player that can play two ways for the price of one, that's a way for us to get ahead and stay competitive in a world where things are a little weird. So I love seeing it. I have no complaints.
Cam, I'm going to throw this one to you. Is Smith, Snowden, Lander, Barton good, or are Utah receivers, tight ends bad?
It can be both. I think mostly I think those two are good. I think we know that they are phenomenal athletes. I think we know that the more you can have them on the field, the better. I love, like you said, Josh, I love how creative Witt is being and getting them on the field. I think that we could do a whole episode on what it feels like this means and this whole shift of players for Utah. But I think the big question on my mind is or the thing I keep coming back to is those are 2 players who are so important to your team. If they are too involved in your offense, or if your offense is too dependent on those 2 players, that's a ton of production to have to replace if something does happen. And so, again, not to say something necessarily will, but Lander's missed time before. Smith Snowden is not a huge guy. It's a small body to take a lot of wear if he's got to do it. Travis Hunter is a really big player and a phenomenal, body type to withstand a little bit more of those hits. And I'm sure he was even feeling a lot of wear towards the end of seasons. And so I don't want to like limit my expectations too much, but it does worry me as we get into the stretch of the season. Like, if the offense is too dependent on those guys and it affects their performance on the defensive side as well, like that could be really impactful. But overall, love the thought and like the mentality behind like these are the best athletes on our football team. Let's find ways to get them the ball more often. And like
Yeah.
Smith Snowden last night had 6 receptions. Only 3 Utes had 6 receptions in games last year, and most games didn't have a receiver with 6 receptions. And so Smith Snowden did that on limited time on offense, right? Like, and the
Yeah.
guys who had those were guys like Dorian Singer and Mekhi Bernard and Brant Keithy. Like, these were star pass catchers and star like feature players on the team. He's stepping in and doing it in his first game playing offensive snaps. I think there's a lot of potential there.
Tyson, I'd be curious your thoughts on this with Smith specifically. We saw him utilized in so many different ways, right? Whether it be out wide at running back, in the slot, in the backfield, motioning him in, motioning him out. What sort of chess piece does that give Beck to kind of not build around, but build with this offense?
I think it's huge. Teams are going to look at that now. Like that, we got Smith Snowden on film. So Smith Snowden comes in the game on offense. Everybody's looking at him. You know who they're not looking at now is guys like Larry Simmons, is guys like Tobias Merriweather. And then when you think like, oh, all right, there's actually other guys on there, then we're going to go back to Smith. Like, there's so many things you can do with a guy like Snowden, with his big playability, with the way that he was with the ball last night. Not only using him, but using him as a decoy. You're going to take eyes off other people. And then the one thing I'm a little interested in, do we have a snap count on Lander on offense?
Yeah. 1 second.
Because the one thing I would be interested in is to see, because we know Lander was out there almost every play on defense.
Lander only played 7 snaps offensively.
Okay. See, I can live with that, and I can live with Snowden only playing
22.
22 and 23. 22
Yep.
on offense, 23 on defense. Like,
yep.
That's pretty manageable, I think. They're not doing the Travis Hunter playing 100 snaps or 130 snaps a game. Like, you're playing a fraction of that. I feel like it's a really good way to utilize, and I think it speaks to Utah that they can afford to only play Smith Snowden 23 times on the defensive side. But I'm interested in where that's going to go, like how that's going to evolve for the rest of the year. Because I think you do need to not switch it up, but like you gotta be a little more unpredictable with it. So I'm really interested to see what they do moving forward, especially when it gets into conference play.
And I think a key thing here when talking about what to expect moving forward, right? Utah is so good, taking it game by game and whatever the matchup dictates, making those adjustments, right? So if there's a matchup that Utah needs Smith on the defensive side of the ball, I fully expect and believe that that's going to be the focus for that week, right? Texas Tech coming in with some of the receivers that they bought in the portal. You're going to want Smith on the defense side of the ball for that matchup, probably more than you need him on the offense side of the ball. And so I think there will be adjustments week to week with how they're utilized and what sort of snap counts they see. And one thing that I've been thinking about, and Josh, you sort of alluded to it, touched on it, but this game is evolving, right? It's going through a massive evolution right now with the influx of money and the conference realignment and all that sort of stuff, and what's coming down the road. The future of this game is collective bargaining on the horizon. Like all of these things, it is going through a massive evolution, and I think it's important for us as spectators, fans, analysts to evolve how we view it and take it in as well, where it's less about I shouldn't say it's less about, but what is becoming more prominent in the game is money and programs looking to maximize their return on those investments, right? And this is to your point, Josh, that Utah has invested quite a bit of money into Snowden and into Lander, and to maximize those returns, right? How much would Snowden have been talked about last night had he just played defense exclusively? Probably not a lot, but he started the game on offense, caught the first pass, made a great play, was a presence on the offense side of the ball. His name, his face was on the TV screen a whole lot last night. And I think that is something for Utah and for Smith to get that exposure. That is something that I'm not saying that Kyle Whittingham is in there game planning exposure and brand awareness for his players, but I just think that, again, when we're talking about taking it all in, those are conversations that they probably have in the off season and consider and put in their game plans and all that sort of stuff. And so that is something that I think is something to be mindful of as we're talking about this. But again, it just gets back to using your best players and maximizing their ability to help you win games. And that's what Smith, that's what Lander provide the offense. But to get to the bigger point here, Utah is going to need others to emerge, and to have now Smith and Lander, two guys that defenses have to prepare for, that's big for everybody else.
It's kind of funny that it's taken this long, because like it just goes to show the conventional, like how strong the convention of one-way players they are in college football, because we've joked, off mic for years about like, this is a simple game. If you're bigger and faster and stronger than the other guys, you'll be better. Like, you will outmuscle them. You will do better than them on the football field. And it's just like, well, yeah, get those guys on the field more often. Why haven't we done that sooner?
Well, just think, like every single player on every single college football team played both ways in high school.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
I can guarantee it. So
Yep.
Maybe
And
some
now-
rare ones at like these big high schools, but yeah.
And now even more with the 7-on-7 circuit and what that is doing, right? These guys almost exclusively play to. It's rare for them to be a one-way player now with how the game has evolved at the high school level. So it's only going to become more and more prominent, and you're recruiting players to be two-way players now. So it's fascinating and certainly something to be mindful of. And Utah, Whittingham made clear that they are mindful of their snap counts and making sure that they're healthy and that they're within a good range. And I think 45 snaps last night for Snowden, falling under his average last year of 58 snaps is a good sign towards that. So, all right, let's transition. I think that's a good cap on that topic. Let's take a step back and look at the picture in the Big 12 real quick. There were still a game to be played tomorrow with TCU and UNC that'll give us a good idea of the Big 12. But there were some big games this weekend, and I think we learned some good lessons about the Big 12. I think Iowa State is a program that's pretty formidable. Kansas State, not so much anymore. Like, I think that's changed. So, Josh, I'll throw this one to you to start. But week one, quick snapshot. What did you make of the Big 12, of the action in the Big 12?
Yeah, it wasn't the prettiest of performances for the conference. We're the only ones right now with an out of conference P4 win. TCU, they have a shot tomorrow against UNC, and I think we both liked TCU there, but they still got to go out and do it. Outside of that, I mean, there were some rough marks. I'll start with some of the positive. Kansas, they're through 2 games now. Still need to see them play somebody with a pulse, but they look put together. Jalen Daniels looks the part. They get Mizzou in week 2, so that'll be a good opportunity for them to kind of show us what they've got against a team with some real size, if you will. Iowa State's showing some stuff through the first 2 games. I thought they played a pretty good game against Kansas State. They would have beat them going away if it weren't for a safety biting on a pump fake and blown coverage on down the sideline. They could have won that by a lot more. Rocco Beck, I think he's a really good quarterback, and they got a chance to play somebody else real in week 2. They play Iowa, and I think that they're going to beat the brakes off of Iowa, to be honest. I just think that they're sound on both sides of the ball. So I got an eye on Iowa State. Texas Tech, somebody that everybody's looking at coming into the season. They played Arkansas Pine Bluff. They had 47 points at halftime. So that's a lot of points at half. They're kind of getting what they want. Baron Morton did get a little banged up. They said nothing's broken, but we'll see what that is. You know how important us Utah fans know more than anybody how important the quarterback position is. So we'll see what Texas Tech is. We don't know yet. Arkansas Pine Bluff. Colorado and Cincy, they might not have won, but they showed me more than I thought I was going to see from them. I thought that Georgia Tech would be able to kind of bully Colorado around, and they did. Don't get me wrong; like they out-physicaled and got the win because of that. But like Colorado held their own; they were in the game. Cincinnati, I thought I thought they might get pushed around by Nebraska, but and we don't know what Nebraska is, but Cincy hung close, so I gave them a little respect for not getting, the doors blown off them, but a lot of struggles, right? Kansas State, they needed all 4 quarters to beat North Dakota. That's unacceptable. Arizona State was not impressive against Northern Arizona. 38-19 feels kind of icky. They were stuck in the mud there that first half. There's a lot of debate. Are they going to be able to be that same team without Scadaboo? And I think a lot of people thought, bringing in Kanye Udo from Army, that was going to be, good, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. No reactions there. UCF needed 4 quarters to beat Jacksonville State. Baylor lost to Auburn. I thought Baylor would look stronger. They actually, I'm kind of drooling for that matchup on November 15th because they just look really small up front. They don't look good up front. I think we'll be able to kind of bully our way through them. You look at the way Jackson Arnold and Auburn, they just look like they had an absolute unit, and they might later, but we'll see. But yeah, I mean, a weird weekend to open things up for the Big 12. Would have liked us to, see as a conference, more people handling business, but at least we were able to do our part.
Yeah. Tyson, I would be curious your thoughts on Nebraska specifically and what they, what maybe they are and what we know they aren't.
I mean, the way Nebraska plays, I guess it seems like they're trying to emulate an NFL team, and they really try hard, but they won't tell you that they're trying hard to do that. They'll actually say it's not their fault that they try really hard to do that. So, like it's oh my god! Steve and you and I were together to watch a little bit of that game. And we were more about the offense or the quarterback on the other side, Sorsby.
Yeah, Brendan Sorsby.
So we were interested in that game, but yeah, there was a lot of talk about a certain quarterback who
Patrick Mahomes,
which is funny because I just found out that his godfather is a current NFL starting quarterback.
Isn't it Stafford?
It's Stafford.
Matt Stafford. Yeah. Come on, dog.
Dude. Like, it's fine. Just embrace it.
Man.
Just embrace it.
Yeah, own it, man. Own it, Dylan. Come on. Anyways, Cincinnati, I was impressed with their fight. Put up a good fight against Nebraska. I thought Sorsby had a chance to do something special. Just unfortunately, crapped the bed at the worst moment, throwing an interception late in the game there. Tyson or Cam, how do you feel about the Buffs?
Buffs are frauds, always have been. I was eager to see kind of what they would be after the departure of Travis Hunter and Shadur Sanders. It's curious to see. It will be interesting to see how they evolve. But overall, I agree. I thought they hung around better than I might have expected with Georgia Tech. Overall, I kind of get the sense right now it feels like the Big 12 is going to be a little bit better than maybe it ended up being last year, just out of just 1 week, from my opinion. Big part of that is Utah looking good and Arizona State being ranked highly to begin the season. But, always eager to see what of those end up being kind of surprises. But overall, yeah, I think I generally agree. Like, the conference looked good in the games they needed to look good in for the most part. Arizona State didn't look like they were ranked number 11, but otherwise, I think, week one's always a little weird. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And with Colorado, I was really interested to see that. I bought in a little bit to the Colorado Coach Prime and all that, and they let me down, man. Let me down. They get 3 turnovers in the first quarter, and just
that's
can't
classic
capitalize.
Colorado, though. Is like
Classic.
If those are the types of games they lose, where they just have too many dumb mistakes like that, they're still going to win a lot of games off just being more talented than you in a lot of different areas. And so, like, I want to hate that team more than I do in a lot of ways, and especially last year with the Shedeur and Travis, because, like, if they were nothing else, they were so fun to watch. And again, same story with Dion, right? Like, if nothing else, he's fun to watch. And like, I don't know. I am more interested than I've been before to see if this experiment has any legs as far as kind of his method for building these teams. But I remain mostly skeptical.
If we were to put together a top 5 Big 12 in terms of like power ranking, where we put in Arizona State 1, we put Utah 1, we put in Iowa State up there. What do we think the top 5 looks like in the Big 12 right now? Don't all speak at once.
I'll still put Utah at 1.
Okay.
And
all right, I didn't want to be the first to say it.
Yeah,
I didn't want to say
that's
it.
fine.
Let's
I'll
go.
wear that.
All right, perfect.
Finally.
You want to take, you could say you were a Utah podcast and we're biased and whatever. In a vacuum, who has a better win right now than Utah? Like
Iowa State.
Do they though?
That's a good point. Kansas State, we don't really know. Are they crapping the bed? Are they crapping themselves right now? Yeah.
Iowa State got it because it was preseason ranked Kansas State, which we know preseason rankings half the time mean absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I think Kansas State started to prove that maybe they didn't deserve that, but I don't know. All right. You can say Iowa State, but I mean, like,
on paper,
I mean, Utah going into UCLA, dropping 43 points, only giving up 10 in completely dominant fashion. Like, not just like, oh, they had a lucky break. They had a fluke pick six.
Fumble at the goal line for UCLA or something. Yeah.
Like, it was just an absolute wire-to-wire dominant win. Like, there's not a better win in the conference right now.
All right. I think, too, from just the perspective alone, right? You look across the national media talking about Utah, and that win did a lot for the national perspective and narrative around Utah. So, yeah.
And again, a 9 p.m. kick, starting that game the way you did, and then having it finish the way it did. There's a lot of people I know for certain, because I watched it happen in real time on the internet, but it's people who were like, I'm going to stay up and watch this game as long as it's good. And then it was immediately not good. And they could just be like, I'm going to wake up in the morning and see if the box score was the same as what I just saw.
Yeah.
And it was. And, it's just like, that's good too, that you didn't let that narrative fall away from you and have eyebrows raised Sunday morning. It was just like, yeah, 20-0. We're going to keep that energy going. And you can just go to bed.
Yeah, my brother relies on Utah for good college football because he's a Rutgers grad, right? So it was 20-0. That's about when he stopped texting me nonstop about how just awesome we were playing. He follows Utah super, super close, right? But he's like, he tapped out. It was 20-0, and I think a lot of people did, and it was good, to your point, that the East Coast got to see that 20-0 and then call it a night.
Yeah, I think that's super valuable. So we'll put Utah 1, Iowa State 2.
That's where I
Arizona
go.
State. Okay. Arizona State
Yeah.
3.
I went Texas Tech 3.
Texas Tech 3. Okay. And then 4, 5.
I suspect TCU is going to maybe wind up in one of those spots, but
I would agree.
yeah,
I'm really interested to see that, to watch that game
recording this
tomorrow.
before that, it's
Yeah.
obviously hard to say, but yeah, I think that sounds pretty good. Maybe I feel like I'm more
Kansas deserves a shout out for the way they've
right.
started.
I was gonna say I think I'm more bullish on Kansas than me more bullish on Kansas, but no,
That's-
I think we're seeing, at least from game one, their offense do the things we wanted to do last year and wasn't doing very well. And so, if that persists, if their offense kind of re-clicks this season, they'll always be dangerous.
Yeah.
Jalen Daniels kind of feels like their Cam Rising. I think their season totally derails.
Yeah.
It comes and goes with them. I've got Kansas as my 4, and then Arizona State is my 5.
Well, and also
okay.
a guy who the like offensive, the offense is really designed around at this point, and who is like so like of a singular mind with his coaches, that there's so much advantage there that there's so much context that's lost.
Yeah.
For sure. And with Baylor too, like going up against Auburn, right? Like Auburn had their way with that offensive line in the run game, just pounding the rock. But I thought Sawyer Robinson in that passing game, they're going to be dangerous. Like they're going to be that dangerous team.
404 and 4 touchdowns.
He put up some numbers. Michael Trigg looks like a big time option at tight end. So that team, they're going to be dangerous again, and really interested to see what TCU looks like. So I think that's a great note to end on. Man, I'll tell you what, fellas, this has been a lot of fun. This has been a great time. And I hope the listeners enjoyed it. I'm sure that they do, and that Cam, Tyson, you've made it back.
It's good to be back.
I'm not sure they always do, but I think this one they'll enjoy.
Josh, great stuff tonight as well. I'm really excited for what we've got coming this season. It's going to be me cranking out the daily episodes, and then we'll get the gang back together next Sunday probably. And unless you guys want to hop on one of these weekday shows, more than happy to have you. But man, this was really good to get the gang all together, talk week 1, and definitely looking forward to what we've got on the Utah Blockcast the rest of the season. So, guys, any final thoughts before we put a bow on this one?
We're back. Keep it simple. We're back.
It's gonna be a real fun year. Let's go with that. It's gonna be real fun.
It's fun. It's fun for this to be fun.
It is. It is fun having fun. Like,
yes,
it's
that simple concept has been missing from Utah football for 2 years, and we got some of it back, and man, it just filled me with energy and joy, and because there were seriously a big parts of me after last season that were just dreading this season. It's just like, man, what if this is more of the same? What if we're what if here we go again? And man, I'm feeling the opposite of that today. And that's incredible.
It feels great. I think that's a great note to end on. Appreciate everybody for tuning in and showing support for the Utah Blockcast. Be back at it tomorrow, and looking forward to what we've got coming this week. See y'all this weekend. Utah Cal Poly, Rice Eccles Stadium.